Good evening and welcome back to my channel. I have an unboxing and review for you today. This is, as you can read, 32nd scale AV-8B Night Attack Harrier II by Trumpeter. As I understand, and I'm not an expert on the Harrier, although it's a very good, it's a nice, interesting subject to learn about, which is, kind of my point here. This is flown by the AV-8B, is a Marine Corps, U.S. Marine Corps version of the Harrier aircraft that the English, Brits, tend to use. It is still in service, and it's a really cool kit. The subject is fantastic. It's one of those scientific kind of, or not scientific, but engineering kind of marvel sort of things that really interest me. And I've always really liked the look of this aircraft. So I think it'll look kind of nice next to my F4 when and if I actually get to this point. So this is the Trumpeter kit, and I want to show you what's in the box. Around the outside, we've got a couple of pictures, A and B. So details about the AV-8B. Apparently, we have some photo etch in there. On the one end, we just see some nice box art. It does give the item number, 2205. And some other pictures of the finished kit. And I'm assuming that's the same thing as on the other side, only in Japanese. And it details that it's not a toy. Yeah, okay, right. And then, there you go. So this is your box art. There's nothing on the back. It's just a box. So we're going to go ahead and rip into this and take a look and see what we got here. This is obviously my first look inside this box since I'm taking the plastic off. I apologize for the noise that you're going to hear as I remove the plastic. There we go. So, we get that done. And pop the box. And let's see what the inside of the box is like. So we'll set that aside. And what we are greeted with are bags of plastic. So we'll pull those out and set these off. Now the nice thing is you can actually go online and you can see what these sprues are. They are all individually wrapped, and it looks like some nice extra packaging around that. There is our PE. More plastic. Water slide transfers, and then the box. So, as usual for me, we're going to start with our destruction guide here. So what we have is a manual, a fold-out sheet. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in here real quick, a little bit. Yep, there we go. And as we open it up, that's kind of nice. So we have full color fold out, full color call out for this one. It looks like they are in Mr. Color and Aqueous Hobby Color. We also have Vallejo, Model Master, Tamiya, and Humbrol types. So that's that version, and this is the other version, A and B. And I'm assuming they're just different units. So they look kind of cool. So very nice color pamphlet. That's kind of nice. So as we look at our sheet, we have our sprue map, which is nice. So it gives you your letters, what they are, which ones are what. Tells you what to look for, your tires, your main tires, some other pieces there. And then it goes into how it's assembled. And I expect that I will go ahead and do a build series on this kit if I'm going to do it, kind of like what I do with my F4. But cockpit tub, your basic, as always, you start with the cockpit, then you get to your main engine, vectors. Looks pretty cool. Looks to have some nice detail to it. It's hard to tell until you get into it. And then, as always, your wheel, there you go, your wheel bay is assembled as a bay, as you can see there, right there. So it looks like you assemble your wheel bays, and then you insert those wheel bays into the fuselage. So front half of the fuselage, back half of the fuselage, your main bays. Now, this is a bicycle type thing. So the wheels are lengthwise along the center fuselage, and then you have two assistant wheels that are out on the wingtips, which is an interesting design. Looks like your fuselage halves go together. Your engine looks pretty detailed, at least according to when I look at this. So maybe you get to actually open up the covers and show it. But it doesn't look to. Yeah, it doesn't look like you do. They're not built that way, but maybe you can get in there yourself. And there's your slats. They look like they're not posable, flaps and slats, but yeah. And then your ordnance, and then what's what, which is kind of cool. So the instruction guide is pretty straightforward. It looks to be pretty complete. If we use that as an example of what we've got, then So here are your tires. They are rubber. The tires are rubber. There's no weight on wheels. So if you want that option, or if you want to show that, you'll have to either modify these or see if there is aftermarket. We do have our stickers, our transfers, decals. This looks to be the unit markings for version B. Let's pop that over here. It's taped over. The transfers look to be kind of nice. They don't look to be very thick. Doesn't have a lot of extra carrier film, and you do have your cockpit instrumentation. I don't know. That looks kind of a little plain, but let's see what the cockpit pieces look like. Okay, and that's that one, and then this here is the other, and it would help if I actually opened it up. There we go. So this here is the other markings, Marines, stencil markings for the Tomcats. And then this, I believe, is your actual stencil data. Your actual stencil notes. What they did is they've taped this here so that the cover stays on, which is kind of nice. So there you go. And I guess you go through your instructions to find out which is where, which, that's sort of one of the entertaining parts of doing an aircraft, right, is finding where all the transfer pieces go. So here's your photo etch. Looks to be wheel well stuff. Seat belts, which is interesting. So cockpit detail is what it looks like. Seat belts, and so on. Yeah, not bad. Whoops, you can't really see that reflected like that. There we go. How's that? It's a little better. I'm sitting here looking at it, not at the screen. Sorry about that. All right, so let's take a look at the plastic. I don't know that. So here's our ordnance pieces. 2 sprues of this. Sprues actually look kind of nice. The detail is good. Maybe we'll open it up. I wasn't going to, but may as well. So you can see the detail on those pieces. Detail on the ordnance parts is nice. We have 2 of them. So there, I don't see any flash or poor moldings. There are 2 of these as well. I guess I can zoom back out, but there we go. So we can see the whole thing. That looks to be fairly well detailed. Yeah. Again, no flash and so forth, so the part moldings look to be fairly well done. Let's pull out. Now this is our engine, and this looks like it's fun. So it's got some details, a lot of piping detail apparently, and so forth. And pumps, Here's your intake. So it's a little disappointing. You go through all the effort. These are your vector things. So your thrust vectoring, exhaust ports, whatever, are in pieces. So you will have a seam there. That will be something that you will have to clean up. It looks like a piece fell out. Right. The sprue gates look to be nice. I mean, none of the parts seem to be well designed, right? So your sprue gates at each of your parts are fairly small. I'm not seeing, I mean, so here's some ejector pin marks, but they're like on the inside where you're not going to see anything. So far, I haven't seen any real sink marks or, other unpleasantries like that. These are I think the sparrows. I'm not going to pull those out because those have that. Something that strikes me that I haven't seen or I don't recall seeing is the glass. So I'm assuming it's in one of these other kits or one of these other bags. So let's keep going. Oh, look at the fine detail on that. So these are your missile mounts. These are extremely tiny, as you can see. I assume you can see, yeah, there we go. The detail is fantastic. I really like it. There's a little bit of warpage of the piece, though, if you look at that. So hopefully the parts themselves aren't warped along with it, these long ones. But so far, those look outstanding. So let's pop in here. This looks to be our cockpit piece. So this is interesting. Nice scribed lines. Again, nothing. You have internal ejector pin marks, but nothing that looks to be really externally visible. If you were to make this open, I guess you'd have to worry about it. And this is, so that's kind of cool. They wrap the nose so that it doesn't bump and scrape. A little bit of scraping there, but rivet detail and so forth. That's actually nice. Well done. Slide that one back in there so that we'll continue to protect it. Just cause. And this one here looks like our landing bay pieces. Your internal parts. Done. I don't see, maybe a little bit of a sink mark there. Not really. So this is one of your, this is, I think, the bottom part of the door. And there's, looks like sink marks there, but I can't tell if they're supposed to be there or not. They kind of look like, they almost look like they're supposed to be. Almost, maybe. Hard to tell. Yeah, those sink marks, right with the rivets. So those would have to be filled up or hidden in other ways. Otherwise, the detail on the back of this is fantastic. So that one there's your door, and that's clean. These are really well detailed, very nice. So you're landing your part there. Very nicely detailed. It was bothering me. But I didn't recall seeing the clear, and that was annoying me. So here is more of the fuselage and the cockpit pieces. So cockpit pieces. There's your inside of your cockpit, parts of your ejection seat, and there is one of your instrumentation panels. Raised detail on it, which is nice. It's going to make that transfer sort of difficult to use. Wiring detail for your inside of your, or the back of the thing. Here's your main cockpit piece. or not your main, but your main instrumentation piece. And the detail on that, and I hope the camera's picking this up. It's kind of hard to tell with where I'm seeing. Let's see if I can get up here. Here we go. So the detail there is very nice. That, again, the transfers will have a bit of a challenge with that raised details. It's a lot, but there's a lot of texture there. So as a painter, you can probably handle that. There's your one of your handles. Now this did not come with a pilot that I saw. I like this. I like the way this is molded and shaped. There's a nice texture here to the inside of the cone. You can feel it. I don't know that the camera can pick it up, but you may be able to see that. So nice texture there. That's well molded. I like that. Here's our wings, another detail here. Take a look, see that bad boy. Sorry again. I'm really good at bumping my camera. I still haven't figured out how to do this. So these are folded. So they're at the dihedral that they need, which is nice. That's a nice touch, rather than making you do that yourself. Again, detail parts, minor riveting. I'm assuming that the smoothness of those, so there's a little bit of ejector pin marks, but they shouldn't prevent putting it together. So this is all one piece, yeah. That's top and bottom, that's a whole piece. Nice. And then hard points. Again, nice detail. I believe it's one of the cannons, or a cannon. So again, this is, it might be my kit, but I've got a little bit of warpage here. Does not seem to affect most of the parts because it seems to be mostly that way. So there may be some straightening involved in the assembly of this. So let's take a look at the main fuselage. See how this is. So this is your, a little bit of flash there, but not much. So this is, the showpiece, right? The detail on this, there's a bit of a texture to the piece, and I'm assuming that's intentional because it's textured here and it's smooth right there. Does not appear to be warped. The sprue is, but that does not. So there's scribe lines, not a lot of rivets. So you see there's a few rivets here and rivets here. I'm assuming that is accurate. I don't know. Those who are Harrier nuts can probably say. I mean, for my purposes, it won't matter because I'm not that much of a rivet counter. However, it is something to think about when you're looking at the assembly and finishing of it, whether or not that you need to go back and put in any rivets or anything, because that's always entertaining. It does have the typical fill that you'll have to do at the top. The fuselage comes in halves, so you're going to have that. Now the nice thing is this is a top-mounted wing, so you have your seam line is going to go down basically from here back, and then down along the underside of the and then down along the underside of the aircraft. But the top part, right? So if you look at how it is, so all of this, you're not going to have that center seam until you get back to about there. So that's a little bit of clever engineering. Maybe some warpage on that, hard to tell. I don't, your ejector pin marks look to be well hidden. I don't see sink marks. Again, nice and smooth surface up here. And again, I assume that is accurate because you do have rivets here along your leading edge. So I assume that going through and putting those in and not putting them anywhere else is accurate. So this is going to be interesting to weather because this is such a large piece across the top that doesn't have any, a lot of seams. So you've got a few. So where would it be weathered? That'll be some fun research for folk. Some really nice rivet detail in there. These are your helper wheels, doors, very nice. I like. And then the part that was giving me conniptions because I couldn't find it is our clear parts. So these are various instrument panels, your HUD. You know, the HUD's like so small. It does have a curve and warble to it, as you can see right there. Though I'm not certain that that's not actually appropriate, being what it is. But you have lots of lenses there. There was a piece here, right here. We'll have to see what that was. So this here, now this is nice. This piece here is wrapped, and there's my, as you can see, it's got a little bit of a warble to it. Yeah, you're going to notice that right there. You see it center line right there? You may notice that. So that might take a little bit of work. And this is your other cockpit top. So unwrap that. And this does have the, I know that that's something, the etching here on the top. I know that that's something. That will be interesting to mark. And I assume that that's accurate. We'll find out when we go to put that on. But I believe that's looking very nice. So there's a little bit of warble to it, right? And so the interesting thing here is if you clean too much, then you're going to get rid of that. So this might be fun. Okay. That is what's in this box. And for those of you who are interested, curious, desirous of this model kit, you got to see what was there. So, and I will, and again, I apologize, still working, figuring out how to work on the camera. So that is what's in the box for this Trumpeter kit. 1/32 scale Harrier AV-8B. For me, like I said, I wanted the Marine Corps aircraft, and I'm really excited about doing this and looking up what the options are and doing this up to go with my Marine Corps aircraft collection. The kit looks to be fantastic. The engineering looks to be straightforward. There's a lot of decent parts. The parts seem to be in good shape. You know, you've sort of skimmed through this. Fast forward, you can look at each one of these. The results of what they sent us was, nice. So with that said, I think this is going to be a fun kit. You now see what's in the box, and there will be a series at some point when I do get around to putting this one together. I'll do a series on this one like I did for the F4, and you can watch me fumble along trying to build this thing and see what we go. So with that said, I will say thank you very much. Hope this was helpful, and if this is on your radar, you now see what's in there. So thank you very much. Have fun modeling, and talk to you next time.